Hanamura, as you have noted, GamersOrigin now against the wall here, Bren, because if they want to stay alive in the series, they're going to have to bring their comeback here on Hanamura to start with.
They've had reasonably decent performances on Hanamura in the past, so much so that it's a map that I can understand that they're taking Misfits to, but Misfits as a team, these last two maps in particular, they've looked so good. And like, I wasn't too sure how they were going to match up against GamersOrigin and Misfits, because Misfits have been basically destroying every team in the composition, and essentially Contenders has been such a mix-up with teams we expected to do well, they've been doing poorly, teams we've expected to do poorly, been doing well. It's really been up in the air, but this has truly cemented the fact in my mind that Misfits are a top team, and it's going to take a lot for GamersOrigin to take it away from them.
In GamersOrigin, it's not like they've been completely rolled over if you ignore that one Oasis round where they just did get run over.
Yeah.
Overall, we see signs of life in this team, and they've done all right throughout other phases of Contenders, but obviously the goal of any team is not just to do well, but to be #1. And if you want a taste of what it means to be #1 in EU right now, you have to find a way to get over Misfits and take them down. And so far, Misfits, whether it be from their tank play or certainly the DPS play we've been seeing from both Tvik and, of course, Logix, they've just been operating on all cylinders.
Maybe I was being a bit too harsh to GamersOrigin, saying that Misfits have been playing so well. GamersOrigin have been playing well throughout this tournament. In fact, they're one of the teams that I'd actually expect with a reasonable degree of certainty that they are going to be making playoffs because of the way they've been playing. Leaf on his Doomfist has been paramount for it. But now we see Misfits on the defense here. Again, a 2-2-2 dive composition, but something that we don't see too often, but it is kind of common for Hanamura first defense, is the fact that we're not seeing any Lucio. Instead, we're going to see Zupe, who's running the Ana, and Zebasai on the Zen.
And the interesting thing here, though, is when you see the Zen on a defense, is a lot of times you'll see it with the 76. That makes more sense for standing and fighting. They're running this with a double flanker setup, so
this is a bit confusing.
It'll be curious to see how they make this work here, where I think Logix and Tvik, as flankers, you sometimes want to go in rather deeply, but in this case, they're going to have to play closer to the vest just to be closer to Zupe and Zebo.
Hardest is on the Widowmaker, and we've seen what this guy can do when he gets a clean line of sight. Let's see if he can actually turn up for his team. In fact, he doesn't even need to, because Leaf is there, gets the entry kill down to Logix! Oh, Hardest, please, man. Manhattan has to clean him up, but at the end of the day, it doesn't even matter. When you're hitting flicks like that, I mean, seriously, it's kind of crazy.
I don't even think Tvik believes it. It's probably still registering for him right now. But here's the scary part. Even with Logix and Tvik both down, the flanking DPS and Misfits, it's the back line. The tanks and supports do stand their ground and fight here and might have possibly have brought this back. I think GamersOrigin might have overdove a bit off of those picks and thought they had it when, right now, it's very much in question.
And it's kind of crazy that Misfits have actually managed to sort of potentially turn this one around. The fact that they lost 2 of their DPS heroes straight off the bat, and they were taking a fight that was essentially 5v4, but at the end of the day, they have answered back. Misfits are striking back, and I feel like GamersOrigin are going for the wrong game plan here, because when you notice they're not running the Lucio, they're not running essentially a high peel comp. Here's that shot again, by the way, just in case you missed what I was screaming at like a little girl, but there you have it. Hardest is nutty when it comes to the Widow, but he is making the switch now to Tracer.
That was one of the nuttier flick shots you'll ever see, but GamersOrigin, they don't have much to show for it here. Misfits was able to reestablish, they gave up 1 tick, but now Logix is doing his work into the back. A much better flank, takes down Hardest early on, and GamersOrigin, they might be together, but they're down now to 3 people. They have to reset.
They have to reset this. There's no possible way. It's so interesting to me that Misfits are managing to hold on. Like, GamersOrigin, the game plan, the win condition for them is essentially to force out these supports, force the back lines of the supports to try and peel for them, because the only person who can do it is Manhattan and Swoosh. They don't have a Lucio to try and boot them away. There's very susceptible to that sort of damage, especially when they're not running the 76, the Soldier 76 for that biotic field.
Misfits has to be really aggressive here. They don't have Zebo back in the fight just yet, which means they need the nano boost to buy some time till Zebo can float his way back in. Tvik gonna back away. Not in line of sight for Zupe for a nano boost here. He has to work his way back over, and no, they give it to Swoosh instead because of it. He's gonna primal rage while boosted, and this is buying time. He picks up 2 kills, and the disruption has been effective.
No, it's all there, the stall, the stagger, it's absolutely all there for Misfits, They might lose a support or 2 every single fight, but at the end of the day, GamersOrigin aren't going to be getting into this fight a lot quicker, but Misfits, because they've won so many fights in a row, they've got this huge bank of support ults. You know, Zebasai has the Transcendence, but here is the kicker. GamersOrigin have 5 ultimates to work off the back of it. If they do not take this now, I don't know what to say about it, but here we have it, ZP. The Transcendence is out.
And Misfits had the Transcend just a second earlier there, so GamersOrigin, they've started this out well. All 6 members still up. They're going to chain the sound barrier after the Transcendence fades. This is where you need to pick up kills. They've only been able to demech Manitin so far, but they've wrecked the front line. Tavik has a blade, but he's pushed back. He's able to heal. Logix gets both. Supports the pulse bomb, and now Tavik could clean up.
This is absolutely nuts. Like, GamersOrigin, that fight was kind of in their favor, but even still, like, it just was not quite enough. They committed every single ultimate they had for that fight, and it was turned around just off the back of Logix with a single pulse bomb picking up 2 kills. Tavik obviously cleaning up afterwards with the Dragon Blade, but that is nutty stuff, and here you can see it from a different perspective. He just zips straight into the back, gets it onto Heap, and they could do absolutely nothing against that. But now, we're back into the fight. This is do or die time. GamersOrigin have 14 seconds here, ZP, to make it work. No ultimates online. It's going to be a battle of raw mechanical skill.
It is indeed. Leaf, though, under pressure early on, down to 1 HP. Is he going to get healed up? He is. Might be able to live. He's under pressure from Logix right now in the back, but for now, he's going to live. Logix coming back in. GamersOrigin still at a full 6. Misfits is 10% away from giving up first, but if they can find an early pickoff, Bren, they could turn this back, and they demech Poco.
This is crazy as well. They're using Nano Boost onto Swoosh on top of his Primal Rage. It's a huge amount of HP that they've got to stall at this point. But Leaf, he answers back. He picks up a double kill. Zupe and Logix is going to be falling before they can get this off, but the ults are being used. Tavik wants to move in. Swoosh is there as well. With the Dragon Blade, he's trying to find the kills off the back of it. Leaf is one of the last man standings to try and actually make something happen. Bembest as well with the Primal Rage. They're so close here, ZP, to trying to get this one out.
Logix canceled Christmas once before. Can he do it again? He's going to move in. Takes down Bembest, but it's him against the world. 99% progress. And Logix, you have been a miracle worker. You've been incredible, but that was just a little bit too much to ask.
Honestly, this entire game has just been a frag clip show for the side for Logix as a player. The pulse bombs he's been hitting, his aim has been supreme, his positioning, everything about him on that tracer roll is fantastic. But now, it will be GamersOrigin getting that first capture point, so they have 4 minutes to work with. So they did cap it into the overtime, try and capture this second checkpoint now.
And right now, they're just going to challenge the high ground, try and get GamersOrigin off of it. They do force him back a little bit. Whoa, that is Zebasai really deep in enemy territory there, and yet still alive. GamersOrigin in a bit of trouble here. The picks are going to Misfits, and the pressure is now on.
I mean, this defense, it's pretty much one off the back of that, isn't it? Swoosh using a Primal Rage, the tail end of it just absolutely Goomba stomps hardest there to the lower area, but Poco hopefully doesn't get desuited here, because that would be miserable for GamersOrigin. Thankfully, he's with the rest of his team going to be healed up. But the question is now, GamersOrigin, how are they going to be approaching this? Because you got to look at the long-term ult economy, I think, when it comes to Assault, when you're pushing into these second checkpoints. GamersOrigin have got to be rotating that ult in a way where they end up with a superior ult advantage. They've almost got that. The trouble is Misfits are now very close to the Transcendence, and they've also got the Nano Boost, which, again, they can just slot onto Tavik with the Dragon Blade if they want to go in with a huge damage-dealing ultimate.
All right, GamersOrigin right now, taking the high ground early on, leaping right in is Leaf, and this is a much better start here. Logix already out of the fight. They don't have to worry about his heroics to begin with. 3 unanswered kills for GamersOrigin, and they are moving it right in. Leaf over the top, 4-0 now for GamersOrigin.
They have to get out of the way of the self-destruct for the time being. Leaf goes for the rocket punch, doesn't quite find a kill there onto Logix, but Logix still alive in this fight. Will he fall? He will indeed. Leaf finally brings an end to him. Still this fight kicking out into the tail end of it. No casualties so far other than Poco getting demeched as it stands, and Hardest is available. He's on the Soldier 76. He has the tactical visor from the high ground. There's not really, realistically, a lot that GamersOrigin can do to try and save off this.
Hardest right now, plenty of room to work with. This is where you want your 76 when you're trying to put a team out of it. And this is very good for GamersOrigin so far. Their tanks are controlling space in the point. Hardest, plenty of room in the back. And they have Misfits in check right now, where it's up to Misfits to look for a crazy play. But Bren, Logix, he's a thing. And though they're running out of time, he still has the ability to potentially bring this back.
Here's the question mark here in my mind, is that there's nobody to contest the high ground at the back, and Leaf of a triple kill off the back of the Meteor Strike. That is meaty indeed. I mean, at the end of the day, you just don't expect that kind of value out of that ult, but he makes it work. And as a result, off the back of it, GamersOrigin going to be capping that second checkpoint up in a rapid fashion. 1 minute 20 on the clock. I should say rapid's probably the wrong word to use there, but still, they managed to get both checkpoints, and they do have a bit of time remaining.
This is respectable for Hanamura to have 1 minute 20 left, because not only is it a decent amount of time, but it also means it does apply that extra little bit of pressure on the Misfits where they need to have some time left remaining on their second attack. However, given that Misfits was very close to getting a first point hold there, they bought themselves a lot of time on that alone, and we'll see if they can sort of bottle that up for their attack now as we swap sides.
And here we have it. I mean, GamersOrigin going to be on the defense this time around, going to be seeing if they can stall out Misfits, but Misfits played incredibly well on that first checkpoint. They were holding it all the way down to the overtime. You very rarely see that with Hanamura generally. Teams are quite good at capturing that first checkpoint, but we'll see now at GamersOrigin are going to be trying to bring something new out, something interesting, something unique, as they are going to be starting to roll out. I mean, they could still stick with the Orisa. I doubt it heavily, but she is mainly used in defensive comps when she's used. Normally, you partner her up with the old Torbjorn, but nope. They're just going to be running themselves off the edge and most likely going to be sticking, I guess, Poco probably on the D-roll to Zarya, I'd say. And Heap, as you can see, he switched over to the Ana now. So actually, a very similar composition on the side of GamersOrigin in terms of using the support. So they still got the Ana and Zen.
So no Sombra Dream, no Orisa Dream, to be sure, which would be nice. I mean, I think we'll probably see some of her in the next patch when that's get pushed to tournament play. But for now, GamersOrigin going to stick with a bit of their tried and true here, where they will be running, though, the double support defense that doesn't involve a Lucio. They're going to stand and fight, but be aided by the Doomfist.
Yeah, absolutely. And also the Soldier 76. You know, you can't underestimate the biotic field. You can just lay that bad boy down, slap down a bio grenade as well, and suddenly you're unkillable, essentially, for a short period of time. The Misfits, they know about this. They know about this composition. They know how to play around it as well. And they should be taking this slowly. I mean, I imagine the game plan for them is probably going to be rushing onto the point. That's what they've done in most cases. Swoosh, as you can see, is going to be entering for his team there, just getting a bit of spam damage into the side of Mendez there. He does force him back with the leap for the time being. And now, as you can see, this is the Misfits game plan here, ZP. They're just going to be trying to gather all over the point and just swarm it from multiple angles.
Misfits right now, taking it slowly, but getting on to the point. Zopi, though, going to get picked off by Leaf. That's going to hurt their sustain, as now GamersOrigin, they'd be a little bit more aggressive. Logix, though, has been the great equalizer, able to take down Heap with the aid of Manitin, and he's not stopping there.
Yeah, Logix is actually insane at this tracer roll. He is crazy on it. The tracking is excellent. Again, picking up another kill onto Leaf there. The point is contested, but for how much longer is the real question on my mind, because, again, when you've got nothing to sort of interrupt Logix when he's going on an absolute mad one, what can you do? And this capture point will be going their way. Not an overtime nonetheless. They're going to be moving on to the second checkpoint with a ton of time remaining. Almost 7 minutes on the clock here for Misfits to make something happen.
And the scary part here for GamersOrigin is that this is where things can get particularly rough, right? Misfits are going to be able to open up with the sound barrier, and I don't think there's going to be much subtlety at all. They're going straight in. Not much chill in the least. Logix, though, doesn't his pulse bomb, but to Vic. Falling through, and the beat has been dropped.
Vic still has a Dragon Blade as well if he chooses to actually utilize it. Meteor Strike by Leaf will be laid out. Will he find any kills? He does do a bit of damage mitigation, but Vic again with the Shuriken brings him down. Now it's Dragon Blade time as he moves into the back lines, but he gets brought down almost immediately. Hardest with the Tactical Visor will peel for the rest of his team, and he picks up a double kill off the back of this.
Guns beating swords, at least this time, as Hardest gets all the cleanup his heart could desire. Ben Best doing a little bit as well towards the end, as GamersOrigin will be holding on, and Ben, you get the twirl for victory. I approve.
I mean, GamersOrigin, the question again in my mind is, defending this, it's a similar situation where before the win condition for Misfits is going to be rotating the ultimates in a way that GamersOrigin are going to be at a disadvantage. Now, they could just utilize that with the Self-Destruct, I should say, or even the Primal Rage. They're excellent ultimates to use to try and force out Transcendences and whatnot, but at the end of the day, when Leaf is getting picks off like this, when Misfits are trying to entry, it's going to be very hard for them to try and do this. GamersOrigin, they have to defend this for 5.5 minutes CP. What is your opinion on the likelihood of this happening?
It's possible. It would not be unprecedented, but Misfits has been very solid, and I think from Misfits, they're smart enough to decide, okay, we're going to save up ultimates and go for one really good push. And who knows, maybe they'll just make an attempt at it here. It'd be Transcendence v Transcendence, and they'd have to really rely on their tanks, but if they catch GamersOrigin off guard on the high ground here, it's still very possible, as now they've given Tvik some breathing room.
Well, here we have it. They're going to be starting to try and play the point from the side of Misfits. Logix again. He hunts down Hardest. Has no qualms with that one. Self-destruct gets sent out by GamersOrigin as they look to try and find the kills, but it's all Logix. It's a Logix show today, ladies and gentlemen. He picks up 3 kills to set his team up, and Pipu, he's forced to use the Transcendence in an unfavorable situation to try and contest this point up. He gets nothing from it, and with these players available to them, Misfits are looking like they're going for the win.
Pipu could save that Transcendence for respawns there. That was already completely lost. The Transcendence didn't really buy them much stall at all, and now they're in a really rough situation. Very few tools to bring this back as Misfits looks to just choke this one out. Everything in their favor as they drop the beat. And now we'll see if they can just get the last little bit here on point B.
They almost did it, but GamersOrigin are there with the defense, playing extremely aggressively into their back lines, forcing them through the choke point. That's the danger when you play that sort of low ground. That does tend to happen. You get focused down quite easily. GamersOrigin are looking to go for the aggressive forward hold here. Tvik will get the exit frags as it follows it up, but really, I gotta say now, Misfits, they forced out a lot of ultimates from GamersOrigin to try and defend that one out. The question is, how can they utilize this now into the next fight? Logix has a pulse available to him. If he gets even a single kill off the back of it, this could be curtains for GamersOrigin.
Because of Tvik's late kills there, GamersOrigin wasn't able to fully reset up. The pressure coming in is gonna be a lot more than it normally would be, as Misfits now finding their way in. However, it's not clean. They lose Manita and Swoosh early on here, and though Swoosh has been nothing but beastly, it is difficult to take an assault last point when you've already lost people that quickly.
It's going to be the reset game now for Misfits. They're going to be backing off. They still have plenty of time to work with, and they've already secured 2 ticks. They're going to be essentially very happy with their situation. Pipu across the map. It's so strange to see from that angle because you're like, there's no way that's going to hit me. But then suddenly you're dead. It's going to be the headshots across the map. Pipu just buying a little bit of time there for Misfits. But again, the scenario that I need to keep relaying is the fact that Misfits are running 2 defensive support ultimates on board here. They got the Transcendence, which Zupe has now got. And Zebasai also has the soundbar available to it, whereas GamersOrigin, they've only got the Transcendence to work with. They still are not utilizing a Lucio from the first round, from the first checkpoint, I should say.
Well, Tvik gets popped immediately, and that's basically the end, right? Where you're running this comp with Misfits. Even though Logix is explosive and can get pickoffs, you need Tvik to be laying in the damage from the backline. So if Leaf can grab him, it's one of the most important early picks you can get, and it just completely takes the wind out of the sails of this Misfits push.
It does indeed. I mean, we can't really underestimate Leaf in this scenario as well, because the fact that he's getting these pickoffs just when Misfits are trying to, regroup and repush is critical, because it means it pushes it back by, 10 seconds, 20 seconds, maybe even more. But now we're going to see possibly some ultimates going to be expended as everyone actually has them. Leaf moves in with the Meteor Strike, collects the kill onto Zebasai, and this is exactly what I'm talking about. When you find these entry kills, it sets you up for victory.
We'll see if it's enough. Misfits certainly getting bought back, and that's a nice bot back. It completely ruins the rest of Tvik's tact visor. He's out of the fight. Zebosai, of course, was out early on. And Misfits, despite their very early time, Bren, on point A, now they're finding themselves under quite a bit of pressure indeed. However, that pickoff, that helps.
That's big. That's sort of what Misfits were really looking for, but you are correct, ZP, with the timing. It's an unfavorable situation for Misfits, but they want to lead it in. The Nano Boost is going to be used onto Swoosh to try and keep him alive. Leaf goes for the kill, and Hardest ends up coming out with it on top. Swoosh ends up falling, but the self-destruct brings down Mendez. That's no more main tank for either side here. Can GamersOrigin still clean this one up?
GamersOrigin is doing okay here. They've gotten good trades here early on. The pressure's on Misfits here to really take this at this point. They did pick up a second tick, and now they do the sound barrier. It's good pressure coming in here. Hardest is going to have to come back in just a moment. But Misfits, now they're just struggling to re-solidify, and Logix goes a little bit too far. Their manpower has been hurt, and GamersOrigin has a chance to push them out.
I mean, I feel like Misfits were sort of 50-50 there in that engagement. I mean, they've lost this team fight. Zebasai committed the sound barrier in the tail end of it, and there must have been a bit of miscommunication there, because half of Misfits was trying to exit the fight, where the other half was trying to go in with it, and it just, again, it didn't work out for them. 40 seconds now as EP. Misfits, surely they're not going to get full hold here.
Well, that could very well be happening, and I gotta tell you, the man of the hour right now is Tvik, where Misfits, ideally they need Logix again early pickoff, and then Tvik just needs to hold the top and mow people down. But if they don't get the early pickoff, it's gonna be difficult. Misfits, though, setting up, they get to the high ground, Part 1 has been accomplished. They demech Poco. This is going to open up to Vic, but to Vic goes down. The pressure from Mendez too much.
Look at that. Leaf again gets the kill onto Zupe. Zupe did not suspect an absolute thing. Finding the picks off the back of it. Only 8 seconds remaining. Swoosh desperately trying to hold on for dear life here. This could be game, set, map here for GamersOrigin. They could be having a window of opportunity to try and find their way back in. The overtime now starting to tick down, but Misfits, they're losing so many players. Swoosh desperately trying to hold on to this, but he will be falling as their primal rage. Mendez just tries to seal the deal in the final moments here, ZP.
Misfits unable to finish the job here on Hanamura. GamersOrigin coming out with an absolutely gutsy defense. Even if Misfits were to have pulled it back at that point, Bren, they wouldn't have gotten another attack and was still likely to go away with GamersOrigin.
Crazy, crazy game by GamersOrigin. You can tell that they are learning from their mistakes from previous games as well, learning from their mistakes on the Hanamura, because in the past, we've watched GamersOrigin play Hanamura. Their approach to attacking and defending it has changed as this tournament's gone on. It's actually incredibly interesting to look at because they have taken the map away from Misfits. You know, the analyst desk were questioning whether or not that was even going to happen in the first place, but here you have it. GamersOrigin are showing them what's what.
I would say the other thing here too is that you think about how you win on assault, right? You need to have a near flawless victory when going in on the attack. Something that Doomfist does very well is removing your ability to get onto the point with the full 6. It's difficult to come in there unscathed.
Yeah.
And for the most part, Leaf was able to get a scarily high amount of entry kills there, which did make things really easy for GamersOrigin.
Yeah, Leaf was paramount in that entire defense there in full holding Misfits because, like you mentioned, getting the entry kills, it just shaves off so much time, 10 seconds, 15 seconds, God knows how much time. And, losing these picks, losing these players as you're trying to push in time and time again, it just puts your push, attempt, like just down in the water, down the drain. There's nothing you can do about it.
All right, well, we're going to be taking a quick break. GamersOrigin still alive in the series. Can they fight back in a map number 4? We're going to find out in just a few moments. And we are back here with Overwatch Contenders Season 1. Misfits dropping their first map here, Bren, just a moment ago. And now we have to see, does GamersOrigin have what it takes to bring Misfits the distance?
That's the question, really, isn't it? I mean, are we going to be going to a map number 5 here? Are GamersOrigin going to be able to crawl back from the depths of defeat and actually take it to Misfits? I mean, that's the question on everyone's mind here. I don't think the Analyst desk was particularly expecting this one. I think across the board, they thought it was probably going to be a 4-0 to Misfits. But GamersOrigin, they've really turned it around. They're showing that the power of Doomfist, you know, you have to respect it, because it was honestly the Leaf show in that previous match, the previous map of Hanamura. It was quite literally, you know, it was him buying that time on the defense. But we're going to be heading into a different map now. We're going to be going into Dorado, which was, or is, I should say, Misfits' map pick.
And the thing here is, as you head in the Escort, is that you can recover from early pickoffs more readily on Escort. It's still not a great situation if you have to fight back 5-on-6, but it's still better here in Escort than Assault, because Assault does just require that dominance on a point for such a long period of time to take things. So even if GamersOrigin comes out here with a very convincing Doomfist style, they're going to need more contribution to get a similar high-level defense.
Composition-wise, I believe we're going to be seeing a bit of a mix-up. Composition-wise, we're probably going to be seeing a bit of a mix-up here from Misfits, perhaps. I mean, they might just be trolling me. You know, Logix, he might be a Doomfist main. You never know. You never know. But GamersOrigin on the defense, that's one composition I can attest to them probably not going to be trolling. Going to be Poco, most likely on the Zarya. Indeed he is, as this is a common composition they like to run here. GamersOrigin on Dorado, at least for this first checkpoint.
Bren, I think I might vomit on your shoes.
Why is this?
Ben Best has done it in. He spun me around one too many times there. I'm sorry.
I was genuinely concerned. I was like, ZP, please do not throw up in the casting room. You got the whole act going on. You were holding your head, you were looking faint. I was scared.
Your sneakers were the crossfire.
Leave the superstars out of this, all right? You know, what have they done to you?
All right, well, in terms of defense here, as we mentioned, GamersOrigin sticking with their standard Doomfist comp. Misfits running with the double flanker offense. Pretty standard as well for what they like running here. And GamersOrigin actually giving a lot of respect to this dive from Misfits. They back up to defend at the archway.
They do indeed. They're backing up for the time being. This is sort of a common strat that you do see with Dorado. And right now we see Maniton is going to be trying to basically put in a bit of poke damage as it stands. But when you're up against the Zarya, you know, you can't defense matrix that laser beam when it's flying at your face at the end of the day. But here we go. The dive comes out, and it is effective at that. Misfits are definitely finding the kills off the back of it. Leaf tries to answer back, but Logic will bring him down.
That was really nice for Misfits, too. They waited for the Zarya shield to be off cooldown for allies, immediately dove in, and just got what they were looking for. GamersOrigin unable to land the Doomfist plays to take someone down early on, and Hardest was also coming up a bit without anything as well. So really, the two people they needed to do things there for GamersOrigin weren't able to get it done, and Misfits just easily getting through first.
First checkpoint, really no stall attempts coming out from GamersOrigin. Here's that replay of Tavik. I believe was that a deflect coming into the headshot, or was this a shuriken? I'm not even sure, but regardless of that, we're going to be getting into the defense here as we see GamersOrigin are really trying to do a number onto them. Tavik answers back with a quick kill onto Heat. A follow-up shuriken. This guy is landing them today. He's looking hot. My goodness, I mean, this is crazy aim coming out from them. And even though GamersOrigin are going for this aggressive forward hold defense, it has backfired. All they've done is feed more ultimate charge to Misfits.
Misfits, they are well fed right now indeed. If they could have that buff above their heads right now, it would be. Now you take a look here. 4 big ultimates going into the next fight, soon to be 5. And though GamersOrigin will have a bit of a war chest of their own, Misfits might have better positioning. Oh no, look at Logix. Creeping here, Bren. He's looking for it. He's been found.
He was so close to getting it though as well, and he's still like just playing around his point. I mean, GamersOrigin needs to be careful here. Poco is trying to stand guard. Logix is going into the back. This could be big. He sends out the pulse bomb. Doesn't find the kills though. Now Tavic's turn to strike back. Earthshatter comes down. I'm not sure how many targets I actually managed to find on Bembest, but Tavic got absolutely naught when it came to that Dragon Blade. But now we're going to see the Reflect. Hardest in a bit of trouble. Luckily the heals are there, but Logix is there to help out his old buddy Tavic when it comes to taking on the 1v1s.
Tavic not quite able to get the health pack there, but doesn't matter. Coming in on the other side, finds Poco, dashes back in. 2 kills for Tavic. Do we have more? Can we get more? Moving in with the rest of his team, and It's great. Misfits with a phenomenal team fight here. They come in off the flank, they get what they're looking for, and they might just be taking second off this.
GamersOrigin are really struggling now to sort of hold this off. They're going to get a contest for the time being, but Hardest gets burst down almost immediately, and it will be the capture point. 5 minutes on the clock, ladies and gentlemen. Might I remind you, just in case you can't read the numbers at the top of the screen, this is a rapid time by Misfits. They are slamming this one home, and GamersOrigin, they've been wasting their ultimates trying to defend this one, whereas Misfits are sitting on quite a tidy stockpile of them. Tvik with the Dragon Blade, Logics with the Pulse Bomb.
Bren, right now, if I didn't know any better, Misfits would be in a hotel ballroom showing off speed runs because this is absurd right now. A very quick time by Dorado standards, and Logics, he wants to go easy mode right now. Coming to the back.
This could be beautiful.
Looking for pickoffs, but with Tvik going down early, that kind of takes the wind out of the sails, even with the pickoff.
Leaf actually managed to get the stun onto him, but the postman was sent out regardless. They're going to be trying to trade this one out. Logic's still in the fight, but Hardix is in the back lines. Ooh, he misses it, he beefs it. Logic's 4 HP, but will not get out of there alive. So, GamersOrigin do actually manage to stagger this one out on Manhattan. Speaking of stagger, he is not going to be getting in that mech whatsoever. Look at this body block. Oh, God. It's horrible to witness, man. It's horrible. But that is crucial for GamersOrigin again because they bought so much time off the back of it.
I wonder what Manhattan was saying on voice chat during that. I was like, well, I'm getting stalled even more. Winston in my face.
Guys.
No.
Guys.
Help.
Guys. Probably. I like to imagine it. But, I mean, when you're in that scenario, there's not much you can do. So it's a struggle. But Swoosh has this Primal Rage available to him. Looks like he might want to initiate in. Misfits have got a ton of ultimates off the back of it. I think the game plan really now is going to be forcing these backlines, these supports, trying to get them down. And we see the self-destruct by Manhattan brings down Heat, but not before he gets off that nano boost.
And Misfits are committing here. The Transcendence is coming out, answered by GamersOrigin with a barrier, but they were down so many people in that barrier hit. I'm not sure who they're trying to protect here. Sure, they keep Leaf alive a little bit longer, but Misfits is going to get some serious progress on the payload here, but not too bad of a stall coming in here from Pipu, I suppose.
Yeah, could be worse. Could be a lot worse on the side of GamersOrigin. But the downside to this now is that they did use both their support ultimates, both the Nano Boost and the Sound Barrier. And they've really only got this this Earth Shatter available to them on Bembest. But Bembest, he's waiting for the right time to strike. Misfits, remember, they got nothing to really sort of counteract this Earth Shatter other than just spreading out and not getting hit by it. The question is, how well are they going to be able to manage it?
Bembest right now, shield's about to go down, but will the hammer go down in turn? He's under pressure.
Looking for it.
He's looking for a good opportunity right now. Under pressure, Tvik in the back line with the blade, hitting Bembest from the back. The Earth Shatter connects, and was it enough? It does set up for a few kills here as GamersOrigin is able to stabilize.
Yeah, that was pretty wonderful stuff there. Hardest as well, in the midst of it. I believe he hit off a nutty little headshot down to Tvik to try and bring him down. Logix is really getting pressured, but Leaf is the one who ends up going down. Logic's still looking for more. He has a pulse bomb available to him, but no, Hardest is there. 2 quick shots will bring him down with ease.
That would have been actually really good for Logix if he was able to get out with his life, just finding an extra kill, but now it's actually worked against Misfits where they have to wait for Logix to come back in, and GamersOrigin here, Bren, despite how the first and second points went, they've really come up with an iron defense here on last.
Very much the story, I think, of okay, Logix. All right, just interrupting mid-sentence, lad, with some nutty plays. That's okay, don't worry about it. Misfits, meanwhile, just going to be cleaning up and pushing this payload in. And I mean, I've completely forgotten the point I was trying to make off the back of that one.
It's fine. I said they had an iron wall defense, and apparently the curse was so strong that that iron wall looks like paper right now. Misfits just dashing on through, and now on the verge of getting through last year with 1:30 left. We'll see what they can do. The Transcendence is out. They want to stabilize. They want this now.
Leaf ends up utilizing the Meteor Strike to try and stay alive. The kills are flowing in right now for Misfits. Manhattan picks off Poco, bringing him down. Post bomb. It's a big one. Logix takes out the main tank. Bembest is out of the equation. The beat has been dropped by GamersOrigin as they're going to be looking to try and take this a little bit further, just a little bit deeper. Leaf tries desperately to make it out, but nobody was on the cart as it lands its way into the third checkpoint. 1 minute, 13 seconds here, ZP. A reasonable time by Misfits. I mean, it could have been better given how much time they had when they were pushing it in past that second checkpoint, but that is sort of the tale of these payload maps, isn't it? You know, teams often get stuck in the final checkpoint. The fact that Misfits have completed it probably spells a good sign. Well,
the key for Misfits there is that even though they were against the wall for a while, eventually you have enough reps in going into that final point. Logix is going to find something, and that time he kicked down the bloody door. I mean, it just went away. Misfits was there with the fall through, and GamersOrigin just did not have any room to recover.
That's the wonderful thing, I think, about Logix being on this team is that, you know, he really does support the whole squad of Misfits very well. He gets the entry picks, but he's also to an extent, he can peel for his team as well. And he gives a lot of room for Tvik to make stuff happen because, when teams are playing against him, they do focus him down. He is a worry. I was talking to teams back at the Takeover 2 tournament, and so many times I was hearing of Logic's, this Tracer player who was absolutely phenomenal, and if you didn't show him respect, you were going to get burnt very quickly.
So we do see a change up here from Misfits as they go to defense. We're going to be seeing Tvik off of the Genji, moving to the Soldier. And again, the reason why you see this from a defense and why they swap up here is that GamersOrigin, it puts a time limit on how slowly they can push up, where Shurikens can whittle down a shield. Soldier Pulse Rifle is very good at breaking it. Yeah. So Tvik's going to be in the back. He's going to be someone GamersOrigin will have to dive on, but they don't really have the tools to dive super effectively here aside from the Doomfist. So if Tvik can avoid Leaf, he might have a lot of room to work with here indeed.
And again, Misfits are going with this composition where they just completely count out the Lucio. Instead, they got Tvik on the Soldier 76 for the heals of his Biotic Field, Zupe with the Harmony Orbs, and Zebasai with his Bio Grenade. That's really all you need to try and counteract a lot of dive that comes into the backlines. But GamersOrigin, like you mentioned, not going to be running a sort of dive composition. In fact, the only dive aspects of it is going to be Poco with a bubble strapped on his back. At the end of the day, is it going to be enough for them still? He looks to try and go in. Leaf finds the kill straight off the back onto Zebasai. That is big.
That was one of the best pickoffs you could get early on. The healing from Misfits, entirely reliant on Zupe now. And Warp Harmony isn't that big, but look at Tvik, able to equalize even despite the early pickoff. Gets 2, and this gives Misfits breathing room that they sorely needed.
Logic's actually got slept up there, and it was just prime time for Mendez to get the charge going, and they do find that pick. With Logic's gone, that means that they realistically, Misfits have to play a bit more back because they don't have someone in the back lines who's forcing these players, back to try and defend their back lines. But still, Leaf moves into the fray once again, looking for the opportunities with the Rocket Punch, lays it down, puts in a decent amount of stall, decent amount of damage, but can't quite bring down Maniton.
But he does build up a lot of ult charge there towards a Meteor Strike, forces Maniton back, gives GamersOrigin a little bit of room to reset here, and now Misfits, they feel the need to counter dive. They come out with the Transcendence, and they're gonna roll right in, but Hardest, a beautiful shot on the Zebo side, Leaf to the back, and room has been made. Leaf's coming in from the back, the rest of GamersOrigin from the front. But with that self-destruct, Maniton might have brought this back.
He's tried to turn it around, and it actually has worked out in their favor. Maniton ends up coming on top with this self-destruct, gets the DMEC onto Poco, and Logic is still available. He's still about in the fight. The Primal Rage will be committed here by Swoosh. Swoosh is on an absolute rampage. He's looking for targets right now. Look at him just flying around the map like a madman. GamersOrigin, that was looking great for them, ZP, but it just got turned around off the back of just that one pick-off, I should say, from Maniton with that self-destruct.
Well, the self-destruct, ended up leading to 3 kills right after, so Maniton, the man of the hour for Misfits to be sure. Now, in terms of people that can do this, we might have an old favorite here, Bren, a old friend. Nano Boost in the Tactical Visor. Let's see where Tvik is. There's the Nano Boost. Where's Tvik? What is he looking for?
Well, Soundbar is going to be used by GamersOrigin, and now the Earth Shatter comes down, connects onto 1 or 2 players, but not quite enough to really get the damage done. But still, Poco, he brings down Zebasai, but Tvik, the long-range madman, brings down Hardest. Once again, Leaf, he just beefs his Rocket Punch to a degree, but GamersOrigin are picking up the kills off the back of this, and it's looking like their win for the time being.
So Tvik is still alive with the Visor. The boost actually went on the Swoosh there, who was trying to just make room, and it didn't quite work out. Tvik actually had real trouble finding good targets in that fight because of the front line going down so early, and he just had to save the Visor in the end.
Well, now we see a bit of a rotation by GamersOrigin. This is quite smart, intelligent. They're taking the high ground straight off the bat, and he almost has his own Nano Boost. Right now they could go for sort of a Sleep Dart play. I don't think they even recognize what's going on here. Finally, they spot it. Sleep Dart gets sent out, but not really looking for the targets that he's looking for, and still okay, that was a strange wraparound, to say the least, because I was expecting him to get a little bit more done there.
Just for the record, his Bio Nade ended up going into the defensive matrix there, just on a micro level. Maniton really just sucking up everything right now, and now the self-destruct over the top. Not gonna blow anything up here so far, but does force GamersOrigin to stall just a little bit. However, the pressure is still on. Both teams jockeying for position as Misfits very firmly holds on to the high ground.
You can really tell that Misfits are quite comfortable in this scenario. The fact that they're actually utilizing and they're having to use the Nano Boost. Mendez, what the hell is going on here? How has he just managed to get that charge onto Logic? That was like a magnetic pull. He just brings Logic down without a sweat, still holding onto this Earth Shatter. Remember, he can't actually use that Earth Shatter when everyone is on the high ground from Misfits. Swoosh with his Primal Rage is trying to find the kills off the back of it, and it was looking good for the time being. But again, you're running Reinhardt into this composition, into the streets phase, which, you know, realistically is not going to be working out. These Earth Shatters, you're only realistically going to be hitting it on 1 or 2 targets.
GamersOrigin needs something decisive here. They've been stuck in the sludge here, fighting back and forth with Misfits for the last 2 minutes, and this works to Misfits' favor. The payload hasn't really moved that far through second. They've bought themselves a lot of time, and if they can't get a decisive fight, it's going to continue the way as Leaf gets just slept, has to use the Meteor Strike after getting woken up, comes over the top, but does find Zeboside.
This is good. A lot of kills that are flowing in right now for GamersOrigin that they definitely needed. Hardest with the Deadeye won't quite find the kill he's looking for into Logic. In fact, Logic's just narrowly escaping death, but not quite. Pipu's got his back, and he will be finding the frags off the back of this now. Question is, GamersOrigin, how far can they realistically take this now? They've got a minute 50, and this second checkpoint is definitely going to be able to be defended by the side of Misfits. Even though they don't have the ultimates off the back of it, and Mendez is playing super aggressive with this Earth Shatter, as he does have it in hand, Misfits can still defend this one. Logic's with the pulse bomb, I think, is realistically going to be the answer for them.
GamersOrigin right now, they just want to get to the high ground, give themselves space to work with, particularly for the McCree on top, but they lose Leaf early on. This puts a big burden here at Hardest to not only stay alive, but get the cleanup that Leaf otherwise would be getting here. And he's laying the damage in the Swoosh. Swoosh, though, able to get the cover, Hardest under pressure, and even though he's getting supported, he's way out of the fight right now, and Misfits, they seize the opportunity.
Yeah, this is a fantastic defense by Misfits, but Hardest, God almighty, he's like shooting clay pigeons out of the sky, man. These headshots, pinpoint accuracy coming out from him. Does pick up the kill down to the Baby Diva. Question is, how much more can he realistically do? Logix is still about on the prowl. Flashbang is available, but he doesn't commit it. Finally now, going to be bringing down Logix with it. Still, Misfits looks to try and contest this. They don't have ultimates other than Zupe with his Transcendence, but realistically, I think it's just safe to say it's okay to give this one up.
Hardest has done a really good job of staying alive here, working his way back and forth, landing shots from afar. Very solid McCree play to bring that over. Because with McCree, it's not just about your aim, Bren. It's also about your positioning, keeping yourself alive, and he did a great job of that there. And now GamersOrigin, a minute 55 left. They could still take Misfits to the limit. A
lot of ults, ZP. That's the thing. That's the real game plan here that I'm looking at, because I can sense an electric cowboy on the horizon. 1 nano boost straight onto Hardest means that Misfits are going to be struggling, because the mitigation they've got, realistically, it's only Maniton with this defense matrix.
He's looking for Logix right now. He really hopes that Logix comes around the flank like he normally does. Doesn't have the opportunity, but it was a good thought nonetheless. Pipu down early on. Cowboy versus Soldier. He finds him, but it is a trade. Maniton is right there, and Misfits is looking pretty good right now. GamersOrigin must reset.
And a reminder, we're in that part of we're in that stage of the map, I should say, where it becomes essentially the attacker's disadvantage. You know, when it comes to the spawns, when they're doing these equal trades between players, you know, these one-to-one kills, it's going to be working out in Misfits' favor, because they're going to be getting back into the fight much quicker.
All right, GamersOrigin down to their final minute. They are loaded for battle. So are Misfits. Ultimate timing is going to be crucial here in deciding this fight. GamersOrigin, they're going up the right side, Bren. The high ground is their choice. They're going to try and power their way through, but Misfits, they're there to meet them.
No, they do indeed. They've got the ults to work off. Mendez looking for the Earth Shatter of the Sentry. The Primal Rage gets sent to charge. They're just really controlling him Swoosh to the highest degree, but Logic somehow, in the midst of these corridors, has found the kill onto Heap. Mendez also going to be falling to immediate deaths, means this is going to have to be a reset for GamersOrigin if they want any chance of trying to secure this map out.
That was so incredibly smooth. Swoosh and Logix were teammates before Misfits. Swoosh opened the way with a well-timed Primal Rage, and Logix used that very tiny opening to assassinate Heap. However, GamersOrigin didn't burn anything into that, and now they have everything up. It all comes down to this.
They got to use it now. Self-destruct into the back. They've got to find these picks. Leaf opens it up onto Zebasai. It's all or nothing right now for the side of GamersOrigin. And we see the Deadeye now finally going to be used. It's a boostio! Pibby, I don't believe it! The Meteor Strike comes down and will lay down a lot of damage, but I mean, that's a bit of a misplay by GamersOrigin. I think they intended that to be the electric cowboy maneuver, but still, they're finding the kill, ZP. They've wiped them out. Misfits, can they come back from this?
Who needs electric cowboy when you got some electric music coming out of Pipu there? Did get 1 kill from it, I suppose. Stayed alive. Probably not ideal, but they have everyone alive on the payload. We're in an overtime push. Misfits under the gun. GamersOrigin just a little bit away from keeping the series going, and Logix is already down.
Oh my goodness, finding these picks off the back of it. Leaf with the rocket punch. Poco, he's leaning it in. Only 3 members of Misfits left alive. Tavik gets CC'd out of his mind now with the flashbangs being laid down. The self-destruct will not claim a kill, and Manhattan cannot even get back into his mech. The overtime, the car moving forward. It's all or nothing right now for Misfits, and they're all dead. They will get the capture point in GamersOrigin. They have that slight sliver of hope straight in the distance. 1 minute on the clock to do some magic with.
So they're still at a reasonable disadvantage here, but it's also escort. This is where a time difference of 1 minute can matter a little bit less.
Yeah.
Because we've seen teams throughout the history of Overwatch come up with an early team fight win, which they translate into victory after victory, and even though they might be in overtime, they effectively buy themselves extra minutes on the clock from good play. True, GamersOrigin is going to have to really outplay Misfits early on for that to happen, but it's a possibility.
It is a possibility. You're absolutely right. GamersOrigin on the defense, and like you mentioned before, Payload is one of those game modes where you can just keep the ball rolling, ultimates after ultimates, team fight after team fight. If you get the momentum going with that Payload, it's not going to start stopping for quite some time. GamersOrigin, composition-wise, most likely going to be sticking with something similar with the defense. I mean, they do like to go with these sort of tank compositions. They are on the attack this time, I should say. Misfits on the defense. So we're going to see, again, this 2-2-2 dive composition on the side of Misfits, but again, no Lucio, so it's similar sort of compositions. And do you remember, ZP, how long they held them for at this first checkpoint?
They did hold for a while, but something that's worth noting is that you don't have the ability to reposition anywhere near as well as this composition Misfits is running. And there is a higher risk of getting snowballed when you run this if your early defense goes badly. So in a sense, this defense is riskier for Misfits in this situation. And GamersOrigin, we're gonna have to see if they can find a way through, find a break. Leaf, he leads the way in.
Leaf tries to go for the kill, but ultimately is gonna get nothing from it. Forced to back with the rest of his team, try and reset and take another fight. But Misfits are not messing around in the slightest. They're going to be trying to dive onto them. The bio grenade will be committed. A lot of damage being put in. GamersOrigin right now currently leading forward with that demake onto Manhattan as well as the kill.
This is really rough right now for Misfits. This is the dark side of running this defense. They don't have a quick escape plan. Zenyatta and Ana, they can't speed you up. And even though Zebosai got that kill, everything's going the way of GamersOrigin right now, as Leaf is just having a haymaker out there, punch after punch, leading the way.
He really just does not care. I mean, I don't think it's too bad for Misfits because it is going to be an overtime push right now, but it's awful in the essence that Misfits are now have to recontest. But Leaf, he goes down by a bit more than he can chew there. Logic to the post bomb has created an opening for his team to work off. We see Manhattan, he's looking for the opportunity, looking for the peel. Swoosh now leaps into the back lines.
Logic's had to back out for a bit. His rewind was down, but now he's back in, and now he's down! Hardest able to find that shot, a crucial kill as we are in overtime. This McCree play coming alive as GamersOrigin, don't tell them they're out of time because they're taking Misfits to the very end.
This is that scenario that we were talking about when you win the team fight after team fight after team fight, when you have the ultimates to use, you can just keep this payload going. The overtime is still going to be ticking on as long as somebody remains on it. However, the issue they're going to be running into here is the lack of mobility. They've solved this to a degree with Poco on the Diva. In the previous push, he was staying onto the Zarya, and they were really, I think, struggling to find too much. But Hardest, this aggression by him, the Deadeye brings down Zupe. Zupe, again, pushing him too far forward. ZP, you're jumping around like a maniac here. You're excited for GamersOrigin.
I am absolutely excited. It's rare that you see Deadeyes like that work, but he caught Zupe completely off guard. Remember, they're in overtime. Every second counts right now, and they're getting through almost uncontested because of that Deadeye pick. That is insanity. Misfits, though, they have all the tools they need to stop this. Right now, they're back in.
They're moving in. The Nanoboost is going to be used on Swoosh. Manhattan with the 2K, and that's all you need. It's done. It's said. And now the sides will be switched around. The push is dead in the water. GamersOrigin get it a decent way for the street space, but all it took was a whole slew of ultimates being thrown at them to really push them off it.
So remember everything we said here about how you can have a crazy overtime push.
Yeah.
I wouldn't necessarily put that one in the record books, but it was more than enough to even the score between these two teams when it comes to time. GamersOrigin, if they don't have an advantage right now, which some would argue they do, given it's only 2 minutes left, they've certainly evened things out here. This is an even playing field, and if GamersOrigin is able to hold off Misfits, Bren, we're going to a final map 5 to decide this.
Just by pushing it into that Streets phase, that's actually incredibly massive for the side of GamersOrigin, because this 2 minutes that Misfits has is now diminished because it's most likely going to be going into an overtime push for them as well. You know, 2 minutes doesn't really get you that much in the grand scheme of things. Now let's talk about compositions here, because it looks like GamersOrigin on this defense are going to be, again, sticking with this classic composition that they've sort of honed themselves and really tried to get good at, which is revolving around Leaf on this Doomfist. They've got Hardest on the McCree, which he's been a standout player on, Poco on the Zarya, and Bembest on the Rhine. The question is, ZP, how will Misfits approach this one now?
I think they're going to be too aggressive. I think they're going to be under time pressure, and this might really lead Leaf to getting more early pickoffs than he would here. Misfits, they know they don't have much time, but when you're rushed, you take more chances, and when you take one of those chances, there could be a fist waiting for you on the other side.
GamersOrigin immediately recognize that they have to rotate around the choke point here to hold them off a bit prematurely. Again, the composition they're running doesn't really have much mobility in the way of things, so they do have to sort of rotate early and often. But look at this dive. Misfits are not messing around in the slightest. Leaf, however, has found the opening pick. That was what they were realistically going for. And off the back of those 2 picks, it is going to mean that Misfits are now feeling a little bit sweaty, as they've only got a minute and a half to push.
And that's back to what we were just talking about. Misfits is normally a little bit more patient there. They didn't have the time they normally feel they do to look at the situation and evaluate it. And Zebosai just gets rocked in the face before the fight even really begins. Misfits now down to their final minute 15 with a long way to go.
This is kind of crazy if you think about it, because right now, Misfits, they absolutely blitz through these first 2 stages, which is in the previous round, and they're going to be trying to attempt it again to dive onto the back lines. But Bembest, he's already built up the Earth Shatter. He lays it down, and he's found multiple opportunities as the players are on the floor. Leaf, with the beat down, brings down Logix, and another kill from Pipu as well, means that already with this 2-man advantage, Misfits' push is once again dead in the water. GamersOrigin are holding on.
Misfits, up until the series, had not lost a single map. They are on the verge of losing 2 in a row, and we have a pause. GamersOrigin is down a player.
They are indeed. That's awful timing, to be honest, for that entire thing. What a game.
No doubt. And GamersOrigin, so long as they can get their extra player back in, they still have an edge here, even though that player will have lost all of their ultimate charge, which is rough because it's Pipu, one of their supports.
Yeah, I mean, it could work out in Misfits' favor, but chances are, I mean, this next fight is going to decide a lot. I mean, you guys at home, you're staring at our faces once again, our ugly faces, but we can see the ultimate situation. And right now, Misfits are sitting on 2 defensive support ultimates and a Dragon Blade. You know, that is prime time for them to just stop this push, or keep pushing it forward, I should say, all the way in.
Well, here's the other thing that's really tough to consider, is that it's not just the fact that Pipu's going to be losing his ultimate charge here. He's also going to be back in spawn. He's going to have to move back. If you look at where GamersOrigin has been, they've been holding very far up. This means that Misfits basically gets to move up relatively uncontested to the first point, where then GamersOrigin will have to hold themselves off, because you don't want to fight 5-on-6, which unfortunately is where they've been pushed to right now.
Yeah, that's the struggle, isn't it now? But yeah, this is an opening for Misfits to work off. They do have the superior ult advantage coming into the next fight, so chances are they are going to be able to take it. But it's not down and out for GamersOrigin just yet. You know, they still have plenty of opportunities, because we're getting into the timings now where it's most likely going to be an overtime push for the side of Misfits. We're getting into that stage where anything could happen. GamersOrigin could just slip it away from underneath them. Pipu will be coming back into it fairly shortly. He's just loading into the game, and surely we'll be getting back into the gameplay. And here you have it, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be running back into this one. As you can see, the ultimate situation for Misfits is grand.
Well, Misfits, they're not wasting any time at all. They know they have the edge. Pipu was out of the fight. And say what you will, but they take advantage of the opportunity. A fully clean team fight against a GamersOrigin team that just got wrecked.
Get wrecked. That's the quote by ZP. They got wrecked. My goodness. GamersOrigin now, they have ults to use. You know, you can't push this back then, because, I mean, Misfits, they aren't going to be pushing this now into the overtime. But here's the dangerous scenario for Misfits here, because Poco has the Graviton. We see the self-destruct being sent out by Manaton. What? How would you pick up both supports like that? His self-destructs have been absurd. Seriously, it's crazy how much value he gets out of that one ultimate ability.
That is the jackpot for a diva, to say the least, where you get not one, but two supports. And the entire tempo of this game has shifted. Misfits now in a great position where they have a positioning advantage. But GamersOrigin has a big ultimate advantage. So if they're able to win one team fight, they'll still take Dorado. Misfits needs to take advantage of what they've been given.
Swoosh available, he's ready and waiting, going to get punched back, has the Primal Rage, opting to use it now, trying to force those supports back out of the equation, out of the fight. The Graviton Surge, meanwhile, will get connected, will get used up here as we see the Meteor Strike as well into the back lines, putting in a bit of damage, and even Trey, but GamersOrigin are coming out on top.
The Nano Boosted Reinhardt is so smart in this situation. It lets Ben Best create a lot of room on the payload. Almost will end it overtime, and they do! Logic's unable to stand the point, under pressure, and GamersOrigin, though technical difficulties for people who might have made that more tense than they would have liked, they hold on. And we will be going to a tie-breaking map number 5.
We're going to be going to Ilios. That is the game, the map that we're going to be going to. GamersOrigin have played incredibly well. Off the back of that, even having the misfortune of Pipu disconnecting in the final moments there, it didn't phase them. They had the superior ult economy with the Earth Shatter, with the Graviton Surge, and just off the back of that, really doing a lot of magic, doing a lot of work. The question is now, ZP, we're going into Ilios. How much are you a fan of Greece?
Wow, this is suddenly putting me on the spot. It's a very beautiful area.
Have you been to Greece?
I have not, but
okay.
I know it's beautiful.
I know you're well-traveled, so I didn't know.
No, I actually have not gone to there. I've gone to a lot of places in Europe, but never Greece.
Yeah, Greece is nice, but we're going to be going to Ilios, which is set in Greece, which is the why I was asking the question about Greece, but we're going to be heading into it fairly shortly. Ilios is a map, though. We can talk about that a little bit more, because how do you feel like this is going to be affecting GamersOrigin? Because they've got this Doomfist composition. How do you realistically think that they're going to be dealing with this? Because Ilios is quite an open map.
So Ruins probably isn't going to be as good for them overall, but the other two stages on Ilios, both Well and the Coast, they're going to have a lot more room to work with, where there's tighter corridors that you can get good value off of Doomfist. But guys, we're going to be taking a quick break. The final map of the series will be coming at you in just a moment. We are back here with Overwatch Contenders Season 1 EU, and we now have a final extra round, Bren, here in our 4-map set. We must have a winner, and that winner between GamersOrigin and Misfits will be decided on Ilios.
It's a spicy game. It's a very spicy game. I think that's the only way to describe this one between Misfits and GamersOrigin. Questions are being raised, you know. Misfits, the team, they were looking like the #1 seed coming into this. If GamersOrigin take this win away on Ilios, the effects are going to be, you know, long-standing throughout this entire tournament, because now we do know that there is a team capable of taking it to Misfits. That was the real question mark, because they were looking above and beyond everyone else. Question is, can GamersOrigin actually do it?
Well, right now, I mean, they have been the first team to bloody Misfits, where Misfits, these are the first 2 maps they've lost, and they've lost those maps in succession. This would, of course, be their 3rd map lost in a row, should it go to that extent, and this is a control point map that should favor GamersOrigin more than Oasis did just a bit ago. We'll see if they take advantage.
Yeah, Oasis was honestly a terrible map for GamersOrigin, for that sort of play style that they play. Ilios now, we were talking about this before in the sort of pre-game, but you know, Ilios, I should say, should suit GamersOrigin with their composition a lot better. If you think about it, the lighthouse section, a lot of tight corners, the big building you do have to contest and fight around is very good for sort of Doomfist compositions, and well as well. Imagine the capabilities, imagine the abilities to just really just knock these players into the well and whatnot. It looks like GamersOrigin, instead of opting for the Doomfist, are going to be going for Leaf on the Pharah, and this is something we have seen in the past. We're going to see a bit of a Pharah v Pharah duel kicking off here between Misfits and GamersOrigin here.
Leaf's Pharah has been hit or miss. Tavic's Pharah historically has been very good. On face value, this is an edge to Misfits, but GamersOrigin, they don't want to be outdone in the air war this time. We'll see if Leaf has what it takes as both teams now get involved in this first skirmish.
GamersOrigin straight off the bat trying to get stuck in, but Tavic is there. The damage boosted rockets brings down Leaf, brings down Heap, and with the follow-up, this definitely going to be there. They're going to be finding the rest of these kills. Mannington just getting the boop off into the well. And the first control point, the first capture point, I should say, will be going to Misfits here.
So the reason why Leaf is running the Pharah here is that they don't want to give Tavic uncontested control of the skies. But when you just take down your counterpart like that, as Tavic did, you do get uncontested control of the skies. He takes down the Pharah Mercy combo, and justice certainly came from above, and it didn't even require the barrage.
It's so fluid, but look at this. Tavic wants to try and take the fight straight to him. Immediately hits him up with the old 1-2. The rocket's going to be sent straight up into his face. Damage is there. Leaf says, you know what, I'm tired of trying to hit the long-range rockets. I'm just going to get right up into your grill and just slam these rockets into you and see what happens. And off the back of it, 2 kills means he has set GamersOrigin up quite nicely.
You can't ask more from your Pharah there. Leaf with a much better second engagement compared to the first. And now GamersOrigin moving their way back in, but there's very good delay coming out from Misfits here nonetheless. This is still going up even as they lose the fight.
Now we'll see them. This should be the end of it, or not. Tavic, I don't really know what the hell was going on there, lad. But he goes for the kill. The barrage straight into point blank, brings down a player, and the resurrect will mean that this is a reset fight for Misfits. A fantastic stall coming out from them.
A very good stall. The barrage from Tavic did enough damage, and Zupe with the res was able to get them back over in the fight that was looking like it was going for GamersOrigin. And now, 65%. This leaves GamersOrigin with about 2 more good attempts, if that. It depends on how quick they go in. And Bren, with how long they're waiting, could just be 1 attempt.
Could be indeed. I mean, 75% and counting. Heap going to be eating a rocket or 2. Has to get regen back up. These long-range rockets now, I'm going to be trying to take this fight against Tavic. But time is running out for GamersOrigin. They need to go, and they need to go right now. Leaf has the barrage, hits 1 rocket, gets the second one on Tavic. That's what they were waiting for, but that self-destruct is going to hurt them. Finally, Leaf narrowly avoids it.
He was going for the anti-air self-destruct and did not hit it. Leaf takes down his biggest threat, moves over, barrage is loaded. His team's been falling all around him as double defensive matrix. Leaf was living in the matrix ×2, both to remove the barrage, but also to protect him on his own side. And GamersOrigin, there's still somehow to keep this somewhat even, but it is very back and forth.
The overtime ticking up. I mean, the longer Zupe stays alive here, the more chance of him building up a resurrect and actually resetting them for them. But with the kills flowing in for them as they have right now, Mendez especially getting these picks, it means it's going to be a tough scenario. But still, Zupe has the res, post bomb sticks, and he brings down Zupe. That's a crucial pick, which means no more resurrect for this fight.
Mannington was with his diva, and that proved to be the end of Zupe there. GamersOrigin backs against the wall, 99% to 0, will be finally getting their first capture on this point. And now, they do have tools to hold it. They have both support ultimates up, And though Misfits has a resurrection of their own, this is going to put a little bit more pressure on Misfits to find the early pick and get the tempo of support ultimates in their favor.
I like Leaf's game plan with these fire duels. He literally just doesn't care. He just walks into Tvik and just point-blank rockets him twice. It's hilarious to watch. But right now, they are going to be looking to initiate this one in. Misfits going to be going for the recap. As it stands, they have the damage there. Tvik going to be trying to win this 1v1 aim. Gill just missing the shots for the time being. Nice one clips, but the sound barrier by Misfits is going to be used here. Healed him up to a decent degree, but is it going to be enough here? He falls. No Resurrect ZP for this next fight.
The Resurrection not in play. That's really big for Misfits as they turn on the pressure right now. They have a Resurrection of their own. They can bring Zebo and Manitin back up for a tempo res, and Zupe, he's going to do it. He was under pressure. He kept himself alive and brought others up. GamersOrigin, though, Heap's going to be getting back into this fight. He can bring up Peepoo if he gets there in time. We'll see if they do. Mendez and Peepoo, they're down. Heap, do you have what it takes to bring them back up? Peepoo has already respawned.
Slowly gliding around. He wants to go for it, but I think his team, he recognizes that his team's most likely going to be winning this one without him. He doesn't even need to use the Resurrect because they just have the overwhelming advantage when it comes to players and ultimates. Now, Leaf is still going on an absolute mad one. He's searching for the frags. Crazy. He's just going straight up for it. Poco has to reset as he was demeched, and that gives an opening for Misfits, but 75% now is EP. What do they have to work with?
Well, the early pickoff on the Heap works in GamersOrigin's favor because now they have the Resurrection up, and Tvik doesn't have a Mercy with him anymore, so he's far more vulnerable right now to Leaf. But Heap goes down early. That's perfect and hardest into the well.
What
you
is
can't
happening?
do that, man! Oh my word, that is a disaster. Misfits now very well could bring this back.
Oh my god, off the back of that, no doubt about it, Leaf's 18 HP and a dream, and Tvik is just going to be saying, see you later, lad. You're donezo. Overtime ticking down, 99%. Crucial mistakes kicking off hardest. He comes back into it. Leaf, the tempo res. They need him back into this fight to tick this one over. They need to get to the point. ZP, calm down, man. It's okay. The game, Misfits are bringing it back, even though the players are on the point. Logic with the postpone brings down Ben Best, and it will be round number 1. Most likely going to Misfits here.
At least they died on the point right after. That was, it was so close to just being in the air and not actually contesting the point.
That was essentially just a small minor mistake that literally cost GamersOrigin there, because who knows what could have happened if Hardest survived and had the postpone for that fight, if he didn't just fall to his death. Crazy.
Sometimes we don't know why that happened, but there is the idea that nerves sometimes get in play, and
True.
That's just a weird error to make in such a high stakes game. But in any case, Misfits, they take the first round. We're heading off to the ruins. That means, Bren, we get to see some Widowmaker.
Manitin Widow, here it is. Yeah, Ruins, a classic Widowmaker map. Very long sight lines that you can abuse quite strategically, as you're about to see with Manitin himself. GamersOrigin, however, going to be sticking with the dive, but Leaf is now on the Doomfist himself. Let's see what he can do here. The question is, if Misfits get an entry pick, that could be all they need. Manitin's looking for it.
Manitin just sitting here in the back. Good line of sight here, but no targets here just yet. Just tanks moving up, looking for the pickoffs, and so far, while he's not finding anything, GamersOrigin is engaging Misfits very aggressively, but Ben Best is out.
Okay, Rocket Punch coming into Manitin will bring him down. Misfits are finding the follow-up kills, though. They don't really care if Manitin is going to get focused down, if they're going to win the follow-up front line war that's currently kicking off, and it will be another capture here for Misfits. And a quick reminder to everyone here, Misfits, they are 1 round away from winning out this series. It's been insanely close between GamersOrigin and Misfits themselves. 1 round, that's all it's going to be between GamersOrigin going home with a defeat.
Well, it's also been gritty stuff from GamersOrigin because it didn't start out close. You go back to Oasis, they just got utterly destroyed. But this time around, it's been much closer. Now we look at Manitin in the back, still on the Widowmaker, still looking for early pickoffs to keep Misfits alive. And look at GamersOrigin, are they going to take the point right now? They're close, and Misfits, they have to dive in quickly.
Oh, trying to get that kill onto Heap. He can't quite find it, and look at that. Leaf on the back lines. Now Tvik wants to whip out the Dragon Blade and look for the options. He wants to clinch it for his team, and he's definitely doing that. Still trying to take the 1v1 now against the Genji. Leaf, the deflex. Tvik, 83 HP, and a dream, and he wins the 1v1. Goodness me, man. He secures it, he clinches it. That is crazy.
Add that one to the highlight reel. You want to talk about a moment where we need a player to step up. How about Tvik? Leaf on the Genji swap did work out well. It put GamersOrigin in a good spot. But that Dragon Blade, if it had a name, it would be called the Dream Crusher. And speaking of, Logic's Pulse Bomb Stick, Boom! He's out of the fight.
God almighty, Logic just recoiled so hard he might have just fell off the map for a second then, but regardless of this, he's looking for some more kills off the back of it. That one pick onto Pipu is going to set them up very nicely because it's 75%. Misfits are so close to taking this series, only seconds away. And GamersOrigin, they got to turn it around. This is their last chance, their last opportunity.
Final chance now for GamersOrigin. Pulse Bomb at the ready for Hardest. We'll see what they do here. They also have the Transcendence in reserve, but they're going to have to make Misfits use one of these support ultimates early and not lose people in the progress. Ben Best moving in, supported by the Transcendence, and we're going to see Zebo counter with the sound barrier. Here we go.
Transcendence was used pretty early on there by GamersOrigin. There's actually going to be Leaf using his Dragon Blade, but the support ults are there by Misfits. Still, he claims the kill onto Zebasai. He sets it up. Heap with the follow-up. GamersOrigin need to win this next team fight, and it looks like they are succeeding at that. They are going to be able to get this cap up, but realistically now, it is an incredibly hard task ahead of them. They have to take it to 99%, and even then, they got one more round potentially, whereas Misfits, all they got to do is get this recap and win the next team fight.
Misfits had the edge there early on, but Pipu was able to build up that barrier mid-fight, and that late sound barrier definitely helping GamersOrigin. Now Misfits, though, they have an edge, they have an opportunity, and Tavik might have a total Unchained Blade, and oh, what a play! Logic's getting nothing there. What? But the self-destruct coming in turn. Misfits stole the shot, and here's the blade.
Tavik with the blade, he picks up one, he picks up two, and this could just be curtains for GamersOrigin. Everyone down and out from the team. The recap comes out, and there will be no contestation here today, ladies and gentlemen. Misfits, with the overtime ticking down, are going to be the winners of this series, and it was a hell of a one at that. They take it 3-2. What could have been so much closer. There were multiple opportunities for GamersOrigin to take it to Misfits here. And they've opened my eyes, to be honest. GamersOrigin as a team are now going to be looking super strong coming into this. I think you can be proud of this performance if you're GamersOrigin because you took it to the best team in the tournament by far.
Whew. Tavik here with one of the biggest plays we've seen him pull off in recent memory, Bren, but my word, that was a phenomenal series after the half. And you think about the desk and what they saw there, the first two maps weren't really that close at all, and yet they were able to just bring it back and then some.
I mean, at the end of the day, everyone predicted Misfits on the analyst desk to try and for them to take this series, and yet they do it in the end, you know, no doubt about that. But it was so close, and GamersOrigin played fantastic. Leaf especially, I mean, he's just a superb player on that Doomfist.
In any case, GamersOrigin, very little to feel bad about. They might not have come away with the win, but they did bloody Misfits' perfect record at least a little bit. Guys, let's send it over to the desk to see what they have to say about that crazy match.